The Hotels and Retreats DLC is broken. During a recent speed building competition, my partner and I had to try and gain the highest weekly income from hotels with a modded City Skylines loadout. In the time provided, we came pretty darn close to 1 million monies earned weekly, all because of this one simple trick. Here we are in Larwoodlow, and I am going to show you how to cheese this with just a couple mods installed. I have Find It, RICO, and Anarchy installed, and that is, I think, all you would need for this. So we will go to the hotels, and the example we're going to use is with the Design Hotel. Let's plunk this bad boy down, and you'll see that it has none of what it needs. Here's where mods come in. We will first get its sightseeing location popularity rating up by going into our parks, and you know what? Let's even use one of the new parks, the tiny playground here, and I've placed 5 of them in the same spot, and that brought it up to 14. So let's go place, I don't know, here we go, the tourist park. I've placed 3 of them, and it's done. Now that may seem obvious, right? Placing a bunch of parks down all in the same spot, but shopping locations want commercial zoned buildings nearby. Business locations want office zoning nearby. So what we're gonna do is go in to Find It, and we're going to go to RICO and get the low density commercial. And I'm just gonna place a whack of these. And wait for it, it's going up. Let's just place a few more. And it's done. Office zoning, let's put in a few of these. I'm not even counting now. I'm placing like 10 of them or so, and it's done. This building now has everything that it needs, and so it will become profitable. And as if this wasn't enough for you, now that we have everything that we need to fully reward a design hotel, we can go back into our hotels menu, take the design hotel, and place them over and over and over again. They'll start out at a deficit, and if you wait a bit, things turn profitable. Nice. Of course, traffic can be a bit of a thing, but overall this proves that this is broken. But gang, any game can be broken when you mod it to all absolute heck and back. So what happens when we try to recreate this type of challenge in the vanilla game? First, let's make the exact challenge clear. I want to make 1 million weekly monies through hotel income in vanilla City Skylines. If I don't, well, let's get started and discuss punishment for failure later. It's important to get started on a positive note, you know? You've seen a city begin in this game too many times to count, so let's just elegantly pass over the city's early stages here and fast forward to Tiny Town. Ah yes, where it all begins. You see, hotels unlock at this milestone, and as such, we can get started. But man, these early hotels can be needy AF. This budget hotel wants a little bit of everything: parks, commercial, office, and trees. So I spent a bit trying to accommodate these needs. Commercial was the easiest, just zone commercial around it, then plunk some parks down. I planted a lot of trees, trying to make it feel like it was surrounded by forest, but set that thought aside. Because these rental cabins were much easier to accommodate. Plopped them by the shore to satisfy their need for nature and cuddled up a park nearby for sightseeing. Bish, bash, bosh. I had to take out a loan to place our last starter hotel, the Town Hostel, because everyone knows that going tens of thousands of dollars in debt to start a new hotel chain is a perfectly viable business strategy, right? This hostel's needs were a bit easier to provide, but still not as easy as the rental cabins, so I put down a few more of them. Turned the original budget hotel off because it was just bringing down the average weekly income, and after a bit of tinkering, the 2-star hotels were unlocked. But they were pricey. Hoo boy. It was time to expand the city. Then, reminiscent of the old days, holding down the enter key by jamming a pair of scissors into the keyboard with Rosebud semicolon typed in to the Sims cheat code, I let the game run a bit to really bulk up the bank account. and expanded a bit more. So much so that the city could hold its own Woodstock. While I work on the next batch of hotels to feed our weekly income frenzy, let's touch back on the overall challenge, specifically the stakes. We're trying to get our weekly income to 1 million monies using just the hotel's DLC, right? So I tried to think of what I would do for $1 million. And I think if you paid me $1 million, say via patreon.com/ToadieZzz, wink wink, nudge nudge, I would probably agree to show not 1, but 2 character images I drew eons ago when I wrote fantasy roleplay online. Not that kind of fantasy, bucko. The kind with swords and elves and dragons and magic. And yep, preteen me drew my own characters because that was the cool thing to do. So if I can't win this challenge, I have to show you those. Great. I knew offices would be vital later in the challenge, so it was time to get my citizens educated. A university sprung forth, and I felt it fitting to sponsor a research grant in hospitality because, you know, hotels. Side point of interest, Woodstock got so popular that people died and the police were called. Rock on, party people, rock on. Now, these later hotels were going to cost ostentatious amounts of cash. So I did what any well-prepared mayor would do and I turned to stonks. Just a couple baby investments first to get myself established in the biz, but I would be back. But not before unlocking the 3-star hotels. This was progress, baby. Okay, already back to the stonks, I decided to do some dirty investing, as I believe the experts call it. I built just enough ore industry to unlock the ability to invest in it, then put all my funds into those stonks. Then built up the ore area to level 5, and when I went to sell, well, an easy $500,000 in profit. This worked so well, I was able to level the stock market up to its final form and then repeat the process with the oil industry. Unlock the stonk, buy it out, upgrade oil to level 5, and profits aplenty. With a cool 7 million buckaroos in the bank, it was time to get serious and hunker down. This location was great for a proof of concept for the later ultimate shenanigans. I planted a row of city hotels and got to accommodating their needs. The one park worked well for sightseeing, cause let's be real, it's really quite a sight. Then zoning commercial and office nearby, and those other 2 needs bars began to fill in. Off camera, I had created a few different high-density residential sections to help balance the RCI demand. I would never be able to generate more commercial and office unless I also provided residents, so you'll see the population grow over the remainder of the video to demonstrate that. Then I rinse-repeated this process with some more city hotels and watched the hotel chain's profits balance. It really did seem, as long as I maxed out those 3 needs for these hotels, they would always turn profitable eventually. After unlocking the final 5-star hotels by reaching a measly weekly income of 40,000 monies, it was time to exploit this strategy. And so came the era of the design hotel, or rather, hotels. The premise was the same. Place a whack of the same hotel down, preferably this one that required only parks, commercial, and office. Then fulfill the sightseeing needs with parks, the commercial need by zoning shops, and the office need by, you guessed it, zoning offices. All while maintaining residential growth elsewhere to keep the RCI demands chugging along. And then do it again, and again, and again. It wasn't long before I desperately needed some different ways for tourists to arrive at the city. I rescued this poor boat and cleared the way for future water-based travel, then spent an insouciant moment watching planes arrive and depart through the sheer cliffs surrounding our airport. All was well and ready for tourists to enter this fine town. Getting around town, however, was a different story. Traffic was quickly an issue, and it was killing the city. Commercial buildings couldn't get their goods. Hearses couldn't get their dead. As beautiful as our swaths of hotels looked, things under the covers were going downhill. I spent some time fervidly bulldozing abandoned shops, listening to the sweet droll of the demo tool. It got old quick. After taking out some frustration on commercial elsewhere in the city by replacing it with housing, I took to managing transit. There were plenty of tram lines around the design hotels themselves, but I didn't understand why my already established metro wasn't handling the bulk of the traffic load. It was because no one was using them. Literally no one. Troubleshooting showed me the problem must be related to the new metro station I was using from the Railroads of Japan pack. So they all got the yeet and were replaced with the boring old original metro station. I was on a mission and looks be damned. And to my absolute glee, I was right. The metro was fixed and traffic would begin to lessen, hopefully. Now, it had been far too long since I've checked on the weekly profit. 480,000 with a few hotels not operating at full capacity. Whoa. And look how full the city was. I did still have 2 more tiles I could purchase, but that meant like work. I tidied up the area we had already established and decided to go for the Hail Mary. Going through the hotel list, I just started smashing up the price of staying the night. I wanted money and I wanted it now. I had a video to edit. And then $500,000 weekly earned with just hotels. I had done it. I had gotten halfway to my goal. And just look at this stunning city. Flying over, you could easily see how try-hard I was in the early stages, working out lovely road designs and spending time allocating district styles. Truly a work of art. Scooching over were the telltale signs of when things got desperate and bleak and efficient, I guess. I do think it still looks rather stellar in its own way. In fact, I am quite proud of this little city of mine. Proud enough to call the challenge half complete. But like also complete, I wasn't doing anymore. Before I show you preteen Toadies' cringy drawings of fantasy characters, we have stats to view. There were thousands of people using transit now. I think if I had given the city more time, the metros could well have saved traffic. Before I placed all the design hotels, it was in the mid-90s. Now it was sitting in the low 70s. Whoops. The population graph was pretty typical. The tourist and tourist income graphs were interesting, especially to note that the tourist income must not be relevant to the Hotels and Retreats DLC. But I know you want to see these cringy drawings. I promised you 2 of them, and I reached half the goal. So why don't I fulfill half the punishment for half failing the challenge? Here, half of Eternal Hinthraon on the left, and half of Matthew Low Herb on the right. Your homework today, write their origin story in the comments below. Do it, you got this. Then when you've dazzled me with your brilliant writings, click the card on screen to see how I fared at getting every star from every DLC packed into just 9 tiles. Thanks for watching.